he's accusing Amosun of contract violations, right? Economist Patutomi has alleged that a former governor of Ogun State, Ibikunle Amosun, violated a contract he entered with his government. Utomi's comment was in reaction to Amosun's admission that he cancelled a deal with Chinese firm Zhongshan Funcheng Industrial Investment Co. Limited. He said the firm presented false documents and described them as imposters. A court in France later ruled in favor of the company and ordered the seizure of 3 Nigerian presidential jets. In a tweet on his X handle on Sunday, Patutomi claimed that, like the Chinese company, he also faced a similar fate. He said so it was Governor Amosun's violation of contract terms, signed the fact that 30 aircraft from a German bank, Taraba, Bauchi, Zamfara, Yobe, Sokoto, and Kebbi. I mean, these are places where we get a lot of our food items from. So, in an interview with newsmen, an agricultural investor in Toro LGA of Bauchi State, Bello Yakazi, urged the government to declare an emergency in the food sector across the country. Meanwhile, the meteorological agency, they did their bit to warn concerning the rainfall in the country. They did their bit to speak about it, right? Warning the government that there's so much that could be done as regards ensuring that these floods do not get to be so bad. I mean, the results of these floods will not get to be so bad in terms of the places that have been washed off by the rain and by the heavy rainfall. But we haven't seen the government do much in terms of trying as much as they can to prevent such rainfall. Well, there's so much to talk about it when it comes to what the federal government is doing. We always do the knee-jerk approach when it comes to handling some of our affairs. You are warned significantly. What did the state government do? What did the federal government do to ensure that places are not this hit by the rainfall? But we're seeing some of these cases, and they've been warned once again about the food scarcity that might occur should this continue to ravage the entire north. Now, the national chairman of the APC, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, has denied any interest in running for the presidency in 2027. In a statement on Sunday, Ganduje's chief press secretary, Edwin Olofu, dismissed circulating posters suggesting that Ganduje would contest the 2027 presidency with Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma as his running mate. I mean, there's been conversations about that. Posters suggesting that Ganduje would contest the 2027 presidency with Hope Uzodinma as his running mates. They surfaced all the way in Kano over the course of the weekend, and there's been conversations about why some of these posters made their way into circulation recently. Well, we'll watch and see how all that plays out. Meanwhile, some retirees receive 500 naira monthly pension. This is according to the Nigerian Union of Pensioners. They said some retirees receive 500 naira monthly pension. The Nigerian Union of Pensioners on Sunday said some retirees are still receiving 500 naira as monthly pensions in the country. The secretary of the union in Kaduna State, Alhassan Musa, in an interview with NANS, described the condition of the returnees as pathetic, between 3,500 and 18,000 naira monthly pension. Musa, who is also the NUP scribe in charge of 19 northern states and the Northwest, however, said that only retirees in Kaduna spread to West Africa, and the virus that causes this disease is called the monkeypox virus. Is actually related to other similar viruses like the cowpox virus, the smallpox virus, and these are all, vaccinia virus. But, before now, it was not really causing any attention. In fact, it was included among the neglected tropical diseases. This new resurgence that we are seeing in the last 4 to 5 years is becoming frightening, that a virus... As much as you can to hit the subscribe button and let us know that you are watching. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, Obi Ezekwesili has come out to talk about the fact that Mrs. Obiageli Ezekwesili, the founder and board chair of the School of Politics, Policy and Governance, she was talking about the fact that our constitution is flawed, fatally flawed in some of the provisions, and so much should be done to fix that. Well, let's take a listen to what she had to say.
As was the assembly that, there's really no need, based on what we have seen so far, there was no need to continue to tinker on the margins of this constitution. It is fatally flawed in some of the provisions, right, where there's a lopsidedness of centralization, the issues and the factors that are creating the biggest bottleneck to Nigeria's greatness. Now, if we want to be a really great country, we have to envision how to be that. The constitution that comes out of that process would be a constitution that amalgamates the ways that that is possible. And that comes from a very thorough process and rigorous process of conversations on how countries have solved certain problems that were still stuck at the bottom.
All right. Well, that was Mrs. Obi Ezekwesili talking about constitutional reforms, as it were, and those were her thoughts on that particular matter. Meanwhile, the vice president was in the news yesterday, over the course of the weekend rather, talking about the fact that when he went to the president's house in Bodilon, he went looking for a mansion, but what he saw there was nothing special. Well, let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have a leader that we can invest our trust in. I'm not playing politics, I'm speaking from the heart. I have seen the soul of Bola Tinubu, and he has a good soul. He means well for the nation. He wants to live in a place of glory. He is not in power to engage in primitive capital accumulation, no. He is in power to leave landmarks in the sands of time. He's the most demonized politician in Nigeria. The first time I went to his house at Bodilon, the Lord of the Bodilon, I was looking forward to see a mansion comparable to a Buckingham Palace, with gardens, with swimming pools, with leaves, and it was an anticlimax. When I went to the house on the Bodilon, where the Lord of the Bodilon holds court, I saw a derelict colonial structure. My house in Maiduguri is better than the house on the Bodilon. It's not about apportioning blame, but it's about finding solutions to our nation. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So, well, that was the VP talking about the president's house in Bodilon and how there's nothing special about it. Well, that's still left to be seen. We wonder just what this piece of information is supposed to do to Nigerians who are hungry and on the streets, talking about hunger in the country. Well, right about now, we have to reach out to Rufai Oseni so we can have a conversation about some of the headlines. He shed some light to some of them too. 8618-0808-312-8618 is the number to call to be a part of our conversation. We're also live on YouTube at Voice of the People Abuja. Join us live on YouTube, Voice of the People Abuja. All right. Good morning, Mr. Rufai.
Bless you, how's it going?
Fine. Thank you so much. How's your weekend?
It was all right. I spent it trying to get fuel. I have to buy it on the exorbitant price. So sad.
The queues have returned to Lagos.
Yes, currently everywhere. And the NMPC, when we say they have failed, they keep saying they have not failed. They can't ensure stability and constant fuel. The allegations about the fact that they still owe $6.8 billion to some of the rich people that sell to them. That's why all of this is happening. But they keep denying those allegations. So we've not seen any effectiveness on the part of the NNPC. They've just been a complete failure. When we say that to Mr. Mele Kyari, they will respond and say, no, it's not true. You don't know what you're talking about. In fact, we're the saviors of the country. So we can't continue to allow this happen. It's been one day of scarcity or the other. It's been one day of pain and strife or the other. The NNPC must do something about all of this situation and make us have constant supply. You know, that's the very least we can ask for.
Mr. Rufai, how much did you buy the fuel?
Normally, Lagos is supposed to be a hallmark where pretty much we dispense from here to you guys. So the average price here is about 6 something, 614, 615. That's the average price here, because from here onward we dispense to you guys up north and all of that. But as we speak, I got it for close to 800.
Wow.
So if I'm getting for close to 800 in Lagos, that means you guys in Abuja will get nothing less than 1,000, 1,200. So that's the sad reality of things. And there are some depots that the NNPC has closed. There's this Taros depot. I think the NNP, not the NNPs now, NPDR. That they closed after some investigation that they put in the delivered water in the field. I think they should go and open that depot. So that at least was like that. Get more storage facilities in. And most importantly, NNPC should ensure that their own refineries are working. The problem is that refineries are not working, and it's also causing a lot of problem for us. How would their refineries not work? But they told us that August they're going to start getting our petrol. Their refineries are not working. They will not even give Dangote enough fuel to be able to get petrol. They say, okay, willing buyer, willing seller, PIE, and all of that shenanigan. No, now. We cannot leave a country that way. We cannot be
right. We know that with the PIA, there's so much responsibility that has been taken off of the NNPC and sort of shared to different agencies. So why then do we still have the NNPC still at the middle of all of this?
No, because they still want to do everything. Because realistically, they've not pulled out subsidies. So NNPC is still saying they are the biggest marketer, the biggest player in the market. So they are importing petrol big time and they're setting the prices. So anytime they have a law, other people have also a law. Because if the other tank farms that have, it's NNPC that go to put their products in other people's tank farm. It's not like before that anybody brings in petrol into the country, then they pay them the difference for the subsidy. That was the regime we had until we saw that there was so much corruption in that. If you remember the Farouk Lawan case on Otedola, then we stopped that one. And when we stopped that one, after the review by Ike Mokwede, so we said, okay, everything should go through the NNPC now. So it's just, the most important thing now is that the corruption has just changed hands from the marketers that used to get it before. Now it's not the NNPC that is getting it directly. And it's still stopped. So tell us what is going on. Because if you ask, who am I going to ask? NNPC keeps telling me that this. They will analyze mothership, fathership, sistership, brothership. They will analyze storm, winter, weather. They've given all sorts of excuses in the book. I'm sure very soon now, the next thing for NNPC is that Rufai is the cause of fuel scarcity.
All right, Mr. Rufai.
That's meant to be a joke anyway.
All right. Let's move on to another headline this morning, right? A conversation was had about this presidential jet. First of all, the president will be leaving the country today to France. Do you think it's related to the seizure of the presidential jets, or it's like they said, light work?
No, it said light work is doing a working visit. Be it a working visit or any visit, I don't know. There have been allegations in the past that he has some doctors there. I don't know what's going on. He's not told us he's going to see anybody. So it's a light visit. It's a light walk. That's just it. I don't think it's related to the president's, what's it called, jet issue. In fact, it's based on that the Chinese company has said they're going to release the jets, as a measure of goodwill to him to be able to fly. But I think the most important question we should ask is, which jet is this jet is going to fly? Is it the same one that they said they are so bad that they can't use again, that we have to buy a new one? Or have they bought a new one? If they've bought a new one, they should tell us where money was appropriated for it in the budget and they got the money to go buy a new one. Or how did they get the money? I mean, they should be able to tell us these things. I'm asking them. They must be able to, and all of that. So which ones are these ones? They should be able to clarify these jets even more to us.
Mr. Rufai, who will do that? Who is supposed to
No,
do that?
it's got aides. It's got people like them, Uncle Bayo now. Uncle B. Uncle B. Baba B. Baba B. You. It's got people like them, Baba B. You now. Bayo Onuga. My Jebu brother.
All right, Mr. Rufai, still on this presidential jet issue, right? I mean, there were allegations by the Chinese government that the police in Nigeria here accosted some of their top official and beat up that individual, kept the person in jail for days, trying to strong arm the person to give them money or something, based off of this particular deal that went sour in Ogun State. So, I mean, it seems like something. Some people have said it seems like something our Nigerian police hasn't fallen short of doing. But do you think there's truth to that?
No, it has to be investigated. It has to be an independent investigation. But secondly, the Ogun State government didn't do its due diligence on signing the deal in the first place. Let's not deceive ourselves. Because if they say they discovered after signing that the said companies do not have the capacity to run it, that means you fell short on your due diligence. So it's on you. So that means the Chinese played you a fast one. But it's on you. If somebody fools me or not met me in a football game, it's on me. So it looks like the Ogun State government was properly not met. That's just it. So and for a sovereign state, it's not met so easily. It speaks volumes about the lack of due diligence. And that's why we keep saying people should be able to. Government work is critical work.
Because the severity of seizing a presidential jet while the jet is somewhere outside the country, it seems quite dire, because what other assets could be seized by one issue, one deal that fell short or the other, if we keep having issues like this pop up?
But I mean, there are many other properties listed. So it's not just one that will likely be seized. There are many other properties listed everywhere. So it's just for the governments to now see how they can mount up a strong defense, which we are always fire brigade reactors. That's just it. Just like we have to start fighting back in the last days of PNID.
All right. Moving away from that, we have some retirees receiving 500 naira monthly pension. This is according to the NUP. Mr. Rufai, 500 naira monthly pension in 2024.
And your senators are getting.
Hello.
So you can see I say your senators are getting 21 million running costs. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
And the senators are getting 21 million running costs while the pensioners are suffering. So you can see the imbalance in the country. You can see the inequity in the system. You can see the fraud going on in our systems. And that's why Nigeria is always on the back foot every time. So what are we going to do to ameliorate that challenge? We must work deeply at doing better for the pensioners and having a holistic rate. Yes, some have been done in the past before, but we must be able to balance out, equity in the system. That's just it. Yes, some will always have more than some. But truth has to be said, it's very ridiculous for you to have people earn 500 naira. So how do they live? How do they survive?
500 naira in 2024. I mean, it's a thing of concern at this point. But Mr. Rufai, let's move on to Kano States, the Ganduje and the Kwankwasia campaign posters and all that we've seen. What's your take on that story?
I think they should go and hold on first. We have not solved the problem of inflation and all that thing. They're already planning for 20. Anyway, these people are not leaders, they're politicians. You will never hear them come out and say, okay, I have a solution to inflation problem. It's always, what's the next political position? For them, they must constantly be in political position. And look at all the big corruption allegations against them. Look at Gandhi himself. They've burnt all his court records now. So the question is, why is that those hoodlums, out of everything, chose to go and bung Gandhi's court records? If you tell me it's a coincidence, then the joke is on you. So, I mean, these are the things we see in this country. Let's focus on the problems at hand. Massive inflation, high cost of living crisis, and everything. And for those that are trying to push Good Luck Jonathan, like I said this morning on my tweet, I said Good Luck Jonathan should not allow them use his head to break coconuts, because all the people that said they hated you so much in 2015 are the ones that said you are the savior now. Be careful. Be careful. If there's any other stakeholders are pushing you, you better don't push yourself.
I mean, Nigeria is in a sensitive point at this point that there's a lot that's going to happen come 2027. There's a lot at stake. Nigerians may not be wanting to continue with the hunger crisis and all that. Some pending if it changes or not, we'll see. It's only time that will tell. But there's so much at stake for 2027, and the politicians just can't help themselves but start permutating and gravitating towards whatever plans need to be made to 2027.
As usual, but whatever they do, they should also remember that the reason for leadership is problem solving. They don't ever think of the problem solving. For them, it's just to be in the position to get the perks of government. Take, for instance, look at some of the big allegations. Have you been watching a page called the Dambelo page on social media by the journalists? Look at what he's saying in Kano State alone. How can somebody have over 44 bank accounts? He keeps sending money to specific bank accounts. All government contracts have to. How can the drug for supply of pharmaceuticals in local governments go to over 44 local government go to a particular company monthly? And you're sending about 10 million naira to that, 9 million naira to that company monthly. These are the inequities we keep seeing in the system, guys. And it's not sustainable in the long run. It's just gonna create a lot of chaos. So we should do right and do better.
Rufai, we might see food crisis worsening. Flood has
Oh,
hit about
definitely
10
because of the floods. Because of the floods, it's a sad reality. So as we are celebrating the fact that it's harvest season, let's also think of the flood. So how are we planting? And you see, if I say we don't plant now, do you know that there are some AI models that could have predicted the weather correctly in the future and predicted possibility of floods? What did we do? Did we use that to say the farmers also should plant drought-resistant varieties? These are the things we say in national planning that we don't do.
The meteorological agency had warned about flooding this year. I don't know why we don't have the governors.
What was the reaction by the Ministry of Agri and Extension Workforce? What did they do? What did they do?
Considering the fact that they've also been talking about planting different grains cut across northern states. I mean, the president.
So what did they do? That's the question we're asking them. What did they do? What did they do? That's the question. Because obviously, if they're not saying that this will affect food production, nothing will be done. And you see, nothing is always done. When Olam lost thousands and thousands of hectares of their farmland, what was done? When we lost a lot of rice harvest, it was done. Yes, you have a beautiful day. God bless you. Bless all of our listeners.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
0808-312-8618 is the number to call to be a part of our conversation this morning. 0808-312-8618, number to call to participate, to let your 2 cents be heard in this conversation this morning. Meanwhile, we're live on YouTube at Voice of the People Abuja. Join us live on YouTube. There's also some other news talking about the elections in Bauchi State local government elections. LP, YPP, AAC win councillor seats in Bauchi local government elections. Opposition parties secured several councillor seats in Saturday's local government council elections in Bauchi, a state in Nigeria's northeast zone controlled by the PDP's administration of Governor Bala Mohammed. Samira Meikano of the YPP was elected as councillor for Wandi Ward in Das local government area. She won about 1,610 votes, defeating her closest rival, Bashir Abdullahi of the PDP, who received about 1,352 votes. The results were announced by the returning officer Nasir Hassan at the ward. Still in Darazo local government area, Yunusa Muhammad of the African Action Congress won the Papa North Councillorship seat with about 1,156 votes. He defeated his closest rival of the PDP, Ashiru Muhammad of the PDP, who got about 1,000 votes as well, and the APC as well. I mean, we saw the LP, YPP, and the AAC getting different getting the seats of the different local government areas. I mean, could this result for the chairmanship elections, could it be something as a result of good elections? Because we've always talked about the fact that why should a party, because you're the party at the center, how is it possible that that party clinches every single local government chairmanship or councillorship seat available? How is it that if PDP is the governor of the state, if the PDP is the power in the state, then every single local government area must have a PDP chairman, right? I mean, we've talked about how not so democratic that is, because that cannot be the reality of every single state in the country. When you have an APC leading the state as the governor, then every single local government area, whether it's 40, whether it's 43, are the ones are from the APC. I mean, there's been so much conversation about that, and some praises for the Bauchi State Independent Electoral Commission have been coming in as regards the rightfulness of this election. Well, we'll watch and see how all that plays out. Some other states are also going to embark on their own local government elections soon, and we'll watch and see how those others, how they play out. Meanwhile, the NDLEA has proposed mandatory drug tests for varsity admissions, right? That's for university admissions, right? The commandant of the NDLEA, Kwara State, Hajia Fatima Abiola Pokwola, has proposed that universities should require newly admitted students to undergo mandatory drug tests as part of their admission process. She explained that this would serve as a preventive measure while offering early intervention and counseling for those already using drugs to prevent them from becoming problematic users. Hajia Abiola Pokwola disclosed this during a radio program in Ilorin, monitored by newsmen. The NDLEA boss further expressed concern over the rising number of drug users in the country, particularly among females. She warned that this trend poses serious risks to families and society at large. And she said a 2018 survey shows that about 14.3 million people were using drugs in Nigeria. 1 out of 7 persons in Nigeria is a drug user, and 1 out of 4 drug users is a woman. This shows that the society is in trouble because a woman is the administrator of the home. So if she's on drugs, then that is problematic. So there's been so much that has been done regards this, but do you think the NDLEA should go ahead and mandate that every newly admitted student should undergo mandatory drug tests as part of the admission process? Will it go anyway in reducing the number of drug users that we have in the country? Well, it's still left for you. You have the opportunity. We are the voice of the people. Go ahead and call us up. Let's know what you think about any of our headlines this morning. 0808 312 8618. Call us up. 0808 312 8618. All right. There's been other conversations as well. Trump seems to be having sort of, I don't know what to call it now, but he's talking about the fact that he's better looking than Kamala Harris, as if that is supposed to have any effect on his ability to run the government as a president should. Well, we have a call right here this morning. Okay, we lost that. Do well to call back. 0808 312 8618 is the number to call to be a part of the conversation. Hello.
Lady G.
Adewumi, good morning.
My sister, good morning. Happy New Week.
Happy New Week to you as well.
Hi, to your side.
It's raining.
Well, I'm telling you, Monday morning, God bless you. Thank you, and God bless your family. I thank you, my darling sister. Thank you. Keep it up. My sister, on the issue of what the woman say, Miss Sopopola, it is true. But I think she's supposed to mention the politicians. A lot of our politicians, they do for this to go for drug tests, not only students, because it is the students that become leader. All our leaders supposed to go for it. I remember one certain time, Buba Marwa, the chairman of NDLA, also said something, but I don't know why he now kept quiet, forget about it again, because maybe because they are all friends and they understand themselves. A lot of them also deserve it, not only students. On that, on the lighter note, on issue of Mr. President is traveling to France today, I want to ask, for what again, Mr. President? Is he going for medical checkup? Because during Gilali did not state it clearly for us. He says go for working visit. With working visit on what? Is he going to challenge France government over the season of the private jet, presidential jet that was there? Now he's going there with the new one now. No, they are not budgeted for any aircraft for president. They have brought the new one down. He touched down in Abuja, was here on Saturday. Now he's taking it out now. Mr. President, your ego is too much. Mr. President, try to do the needful. Do the needful. You are both 70. You cannot stay another 70 years again. Think of your children if you don't think of yourself. You are in your name. And imagine when I say English, you will not agree. The late Ajia Magaji, the mother of the president, she will not be happy in the grave now. Because she's not like this when she worked with Awolowo. Look at our brag in Southwest. Anywhere Awolowo children move, people eulogize them, people celebrate them. Anybody who is Awolowo dynasty that want to contest, they will get. Why Buhari won in Southwest? It's because of Osibajo. Osibajo happened to be in law to Awolowo because Awolowo's granddaughter is the wife of the former vice president. It's because of that. People, someone like you, if you want to do good for somebody, you will think of something before you do it. That's what we're supposed to know. Look at what your mom do. She is a good woman. Ideology that they gave her is not on all this political line. It's because of what she does when Awolowo was in power. They work together to make down Southwest grow. Look at Southwest. Cocoa money, they use it to develop Southwest. Under your watch, what did you do in Lagos? They are telling us you build Lagos. You build Lagos by collecting tax and still take the tax. This allegedly we know. Many of you people that are in power today, 30 years ago, cannot boast of 1 million. Believe me, you are not illiterate. You more than 20, 30 years. Check the history since June 12, 1998. How many of them do we know? They are all street boys before. But look at them today. They have a private jet. They are living affluent life. They forget masses. The day we will wake up, the day Nigeria will wake up, nowhere for them to go to airport or even go take their private jet. Thank you. God bless you. Have a nice day ahead.
All right. Thank you so much, Adewumi, for your call this morning. Adewumi, I'm always nervous when he's talking. Anyway, thank you so much. We have to pay some bills. When we come back, we'll be speaking with Mr. Larry and Agaba Wilson Agaba, another political analyst, on this issue of the presidential jet seizure. We need to get to the bottom of it. I mean, apparently it's not the first time this has happened to presidential